you have different ways of killing animals. It's still like a product. But I think it's really about balance. And we don't kill them in a barbaric way. We kill them actually in a religious way so that they don't suffer.
I'm going to discuss power and the morality of power, okay?
Okay.
Let's imagine, do you know Superman?
Yeah.
Okay, let's imagine Superman is basically an alien who come from another planet. Would you say he can overpower anybody?
You can what?
Overpower.
Yeah, you can control it.
Yeah, he could easily overpower anybody, right? Okay. Let's say, with great power comes great responsibility?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does responsibility mean in this manner? Let's say in the case of Superman, what would responsibility mean?
Doing good thing
Doing good things.
and helping out. Like,
Yeah.
And what first and most important would be to not abuse the power, right? His power.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say Superman all of a sudden says, I want to take this person, one person back to my home against their will.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Superman clearly has power and can overpower them and take them back to their home, right?
Yeah.
The question is this moral?
No. No. No?
No. Okay.
But in a
Nice.
sense, you're doing something that is
Immoral.
avoiding that like, but
You mean like for the protection, for their
Yeah.
protection? No, it's not. It's just because Superman wants. It's just because Superman wants.
No.
There's only selfish. It's a selfish reason. Let's call it this one. Okay. What if this person is in a situation? Maybe they're passed out. Maybe they're drugged or can't remember.
No.
No. Is it moral?
what is
It
it?
won't be more because you don't take someone to your home, you take it to the hospital. Yeah, you
Okay.
get someone
Yeah.
to
Their place.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if they can remember or not, right? Or-
No.
Okay. Okay. What if this person is mentally challenged or with lower intellect, and Superman just says, "Yeah,
No.
might as well."
No.
It doesn't matter. Okay. What if this person looks different? They have a different skin color,
No.
different hair color, or no? Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay. What if Superman really wants to do it? They're like, you know what? I really want to take this person back to my home.
Yeah. No.
No, okay, I like this. What if it benefits Superman? It gives him a lot of pleasure to do this. Is it moral?
No.
No, I like that. Okay, we're going. Okay. What if there's a bunch of superheroes and all of them do it? They're like, we all take a person, at the end of the day, we all take one person down off the street and we take them back to our house. No. Still, okay. What if it's legal for them to do it? For some reason, laws don't apply to them or something and it's legal for them to do it. Does it make it moral?
No.
Okay. And what if this league of superheroes has been doing it for so long that it became a tradition to them? Would it be still okay to...
No.
Okay, so we've established that doesn't matter how the person looks like, doesn't matter what state they're in, doesn't matter if they can understand it or not, doesn't matter if it's normal or if they really want to do it. The powerful should not exert their power, should not abuse their power over the powerless, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next question is basically you'll realize why I do this whole experiment. And I'm not trying to catch you up on this one. I also used to pay for it. But what do you think about animals that we force into the slaughterhouse for us?
Into the what?
Into slaughterhouses.
Yeah. No.
Now, would you say that's moral?
No.
We do have power over them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see the similarities between the experiment and the what we do to animals? Yeah. Okay. Do you consume animal products?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I also used to consume animal products. I get it. Okay. So, given that sending animals to the slaughterhouse is immoral, and given that when you buy an animal product, behind it, what happens is an animal gets sent to a slaughterhouse. Would it be safe to assume that buying animal products is then immoral?
I mean, yes and no. Yes and no.
Yeah.
It's not the same. I guess it's not the same, and it depends because you have so much variety to animal between killing them and not killing them. You have a big gap with everything that can be do in between. So it depends. I guess it's more like how you consume animal and how you care for their rights, more than just eating them as it's normal. So it's always interesting to see here in this country because there's a lot of vegan options and stuff that you could do on your scale to make things,
Yeah.
better and reduce your consumption. But I think it's really about balance, actually.
For you.
Yeah.
But for the animal that goes into the slaughterhouse, for you, is it about balance?
I don't think it's like that. I don't believe that that's
You
like
don't
that.
think they go into slaughterhouses,
I
or what
think
is it?
they are, but I think you have different way of killing animals. Actually, killing is bad, but you have different ways of killing animals. It's still like a product, and
Interrupting Chip here. I was trying to not go into the good versus bad way of killing, so I missed the part where she mentioned that animals are products. Let me clarify. Animals are sentient beings. They have emotions, they feel happiness and sadness, they have preferences, they have families and even friends. In that sense, animals are much like us in all the ways that matter. They are not objects or automatrons. They have free will and they don't want to die.
yeah,
So given that we don't need to consume animal products, right? Because there's several organizations, there's several studies that claim, and there's plenty of vegans also out there, such as myself, where you can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet, right? So given that we don't need any of it, then when we choose to buy an animal product, we kill the animal regardless, right? So
yeah.
the question is, would it, we use our power over them, don't we abuse our power because we choose to, we say we don't need it, but we use our power because we want to, we really want to. Does it make it more moral just because we kill them in a different way?
No.
No.
Me, for example, I believe in God, and so I believe that everything that happens on this earth is for a reason.
Yeah.
And so that we have like plants and trees and animals, it's for a reason. And so for us, it means that animals are also here. We need to care for them and we need to be nice to them, but it's also here to feed us. And we don't kill them in a barbaric way. We kill them actually in a religious way so that they don't suffer. That's why.
So have you seen any footage from slaughterhouses?
Well, not from like the mass slaughter, but
All of them are mass
you
slaughter.
I know, but if you do it at home, I've already seen it at home, and it's very respectful regardless to the animal.
Okay, but let me ask you this. So you're at home, you have an animal in your yard,
Yeah.
and you have a vegan option on your table, and you say, I'm going to kill this animal because I want to kill this animal and eat the animal instead of choosing the vegan option. Would you say that's better? Would you say God would do that? Would you say God says, kill the animal instead of because you said you're religious?
I don't know if I would do that. It's just that also today I don't know if like vegan options are enough for me to have like the right amount of proteins and those kind of things, because I've seen some people being vegan and lacking of proteins. So I don't know if vegan options are the better option today.
Let's say if you found out you can be healthy and thriving on a plant-based diet, right? Let's say,
Yes, if it means living better and like living like the same and not killing animals, yes. But
Yeah.
today I'm not sure about that.
okay, so you agree that it would be better to choose the option that doesn't kill the animal?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you agree that almost always you will have this option, right? It's, you will never, especially in a country like this, in I don't know, Western Europe, US, Europe, actually all around Europe, you basically, I think actually all around the world, because if you think about pasta, rice, beans, lentils, legumes, India doesn't have all these vegan mock meats that I presume you're thinking about, but yet there's always a vegan option, right? So there's always an option that doesn't kill an animal. So then wouldn't you say we have a responsibility to not choose the option that kills the animal if we can be healthy and thriving on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what is keeping any of you from making that option from now on?
I think it's easy also in some way. Like we've grown with like how to eat and what do you have in your plates, and it's like you got vegetables, carbs, and you've got meat. And so in some way, like we've grown with this idea of like eating habits basically. And I think it's also a question of how do we change people eating habits, and how do we learn how to cook, how to think. Also, like I've got a lot of family that they got like a vegetarian daughter, and they like we never have any ideas of what to cook. And then when you search a bit more, then it's like you find a lot of creative stuff and great ideas, but it's also the easy stuff that we see all the time. It's always with meat. And so I think it's also like in restaurants to enlarge the possibilities, and to not always have the fancy cool stuff where there's always meat in it, and then you have one veggie option on the side which is always the same, which is like pasta, and you're like, okay, I'm tired of having pasta in every restaurant. So I think in some ways it's also changing your eating habits.
So convenience and habits you mentioned,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So do you believe that an animal that, because if you choose an animal product, an animal will die? Do you believe that the animal's life is worth more or less than the convenience or the habit?
Well, I'm sure the easy answer is it's not. But I think we're also
I understand your perspective.
far from the fact that we're killing an animal.
I understand.
When you're in
Yeah.
a supermarket and you're buying your ham, your stuff,
Yeah.
and your chicken or stuff, like you don't realize that behind there is a life of an animal that's that were killed to feed you, because it's like super far. You're just choosing from a lot of choice, and you're like, okay, this chicken wings look better than this ones, and yeah, you're not thinking.
I understand that, right? I understand, but well, let's think about it this way: women's rights women's were only given rights very recently, right? Maybe 100 years, maybe 150 years, right? Before women were given rights, a society was built where we would say society works this way, right? Why would we have to give women's rights, right? Why would we have to change society that it works? Women know how to do this. It would be so difficult for them to change the way they do that, to include them in society, to put them in all of these places, right? But that doesn't mean anything, right? Because the reality is that it was about women's rights. It was about them being treated equally to other human beings, right? So in that sense, veganism is a movement of animal rights, right? We don't think animals are equal to humans in no way, but we believe that animals should at least deserve to be to have decision over their own life and their own body. That means no forcing them into slaughterhouses and no forced breeding them or stuff like that, right? Because, like, do you know what happens in the dairy industry, for example?
No. And the dairy industry?
So the reason why cows produce milk is to feed their babies. It's just like any other mammal, right? So cows get forcefully impregnated. They're held in a thing called a rack. That's the industry term. And they're held by their necks. Somebody puts their hands in their anus, holds their cervix, and injects bull semen in their vagina. After 9 months, when the baby is born, if the baby is a male, they get slaughtered. If the baby is a female, they all of them get separated from the mother because the milk has to go for human consumption. If the baby is a female, they get put in this cycle of forceful impregnation year over year, just like their mothers. And after 6 to 8 years, they all go to slaughterhouses because they're no longer as productive as the farmer needs them to be. They can live up to 20 years, so they don't live even half their life, right? Would we say any of this is worth what we get from them? Like, we infringe on their rights massively. We force them into slaughterhouses. We force breed them. We steal their babies. We kill their babies. And this is just standard practice across the board. And biological, free range, all of it. It gets even worse if you buy even lower quality products, let's say. But like, given all of this, what would you want to do about it? Would you want to contribute to this? Would you want to continue paying for farmers to do this?
No. Well,
No.
given everything that you said, no.
No.
And also, like, for the milk industry, the dairy industry, I've heard, like, many years ago that we drink milk when we're babies because we need it, but when we're grown, we don't really need milk.
No, we don't.
And so it doesn't make sense for this industry to be where it is now. And so, yeah, I agree with you.
But imagine, because we talked about society a lot, right? The reason why society is this way, that's so ingrained in society to consume animal products and to see animals as mere objects, is because all of these industries pay large amounts of money to keep it this way, to do propaganda for this. Because it doesn't, like, I'm not saying farmers don't love their animals. Farmers love their animals, but farmers love their animals just like I love my laptop. I would not. I take care of my laptop, but the minute it's broken, I get another. That's what farmers do. They take care of their cows, of their animals. The minute their cows or their animals are no longer productive, slaughterhouse. It doesn't matter to them, right? None of this is. Is this an abuse of power? Because we started with power.
I think it does, in the sense that the food chain also switched it. Like, we were like at the bottom of the food chain, and then now we're at the top. And in a sense, then yes, we gain more power than what nature initially allowed us.
Yeah, yeah, but like the food chain is just a measure of, it's not a measure of power, by the way. The food chain, it's actually rather a food web, and it's a measure of how energy flows in an ecosystem. And that means if you take an isolated ecosystem, like let's say the Amazon forest, you've got plenty of animals, and this animal eats this animal, this animal eats this other animal, and it's a point of showing that, for example, when you plants get energy from the sun, and then the next animal that eats the plants gets a certain amount of energy, but then the next animal that eats that animal gets less energy, because of course always energy gets lost in the process, right? So the purpose, we cannot say that the food chain or the food web is something that we can justify killing animals for because we're at the top of it, right? It's not a matter of power, right? It's also like, even if it were a matter of power, we shouldn't, just because we're powerful, do this to them, because we always have options, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's a question of moral.
Yeah, it's a moral thing, right? So
But then, in a sense, like you grow, like all the superior question you were asking, like your parents, your school, or every information around you is telling you that this is a moral issue and that you shouldn't do it. And in a way, moral is taught. It's
Yeah.
something that you learn.
exactly.
And then these rules, like these morals, that we didn't learn them.
Yeah, and I understand that, like,
Told us, oh, it's not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you would say, yeah, don't hurt your cat if you have an animal, don't beat your dog or something. But we will not tell you, yeah, don't eat cows because you killed them.
I like that.
That's not something.
That's true. I like that, and that's true, right? We're all. I don't think you are guilty or bad people in any way for doing it, right? We've all been put in this society and been taught a certain way. I have been. That has happened to me also, right? I used to, as I said before, I used to do it also. But the minute you learn what is happening, and I'm going to give you resources to look more into it and to find out what is happening, don't you think we have a responsibility to stop paying for it?
Mhm.
Right? Because that's the whole thing about it. It's I understand what's happened before. You weren't responsible, but going forward, knowing that this is happening, you have a responsibility. It's a different case scenario, right? So, do you understand your responsibility in the matter? You do.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just how much we want to act on it. But
It's just how much you want to act on it. Yeah.
our habits and make it our responsibilities.
How about you? Do you understand your responsibility in the matter?
Yeah. I just understand that it's more complicated nowadays to change our habits, considering that we were used to grow like that. But I know that it's very important, and I think it's a big topic that we should all care about.
I like that. How about you?
Yeah, on the principle of it, of course.
On the principle of it. Okay. So then, what is it that it's keeping you from acting on it?
We are in a lucky country where you go to the supermarket and you're a middle, income family. You could find something. You go to France, where we're from. You don't have vegan options that you do here.
I've been to France.
It's way less advanced. In our culture, it's way less advanced, So just in terms of accessibility on a daily basis, if you want to just feed your family and stuff and you don't have a lot of income, sometimes it will prevent you from doing choices that you would like to make, I think. Then there are small efforts that you could make in terms of milk and stuff like that. But I think it's that's what could impede on a higher range for people to adopt a new way of considering and eating, because I think the way to access food is very different from country to country. And here it's fine, but really not in supermarket in France.
But let me test this hypothesis a bit. Do you like dogs?
Yes, of course.
If the only meat you find in the supermarket is dog meat, would you buy it?
No.
Okay, so then let me ask you, what is the morally significant difference between a dog and a pig or a cow that says it's okay to kill one and not the other?
No, I guess it's not domestic. It's not you're not hanging out with chicken all day, So it's not something you would see. So then you don't see it, or you see just the eggs in supermarket, and you're like, oh, fine, you were not.
But you wouldn't
there.
see the dog also being killed. You just see dog meat.
Yeah, but
in the city, like,
Oh, you mean because you see the animal?
Yeah.
But
Well,
you know how chicken look like, so you know how cows
you're
look
not
like.
living with them. You cannot compare having dogs and chickens, because not a lot of people have chicken in their house, on their apartments, So
That's from their perspective. I understand from your perspective, but think about it from their perspective. Is there any difference?
No. But I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm saying to adopt it on a larger scale and for people to make change, it has to go not for the consumer part, not only, but also from the larger industries that put the food in the supermarket.
I agree with that, but let me ask you this: why do you think these industries exist?
Because there's still demand, though.
There's demand, exactly. So because people pay for them, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, the responsibility, that is your responsibility in the matter, right? If you pay them, you basically pay them, you pay farmers to do all of the things that I mentioned to animals,
Of course.
right? So
It's still like I think it's harder to make choices when you are in a culture and when you are in a country where you don't have other options or you don't know the options or you don't have the knowledge or you don't have anyone talking about it very like openly like you do now. It's harder to know all of that because you don't have the conscious to think about that. You don't know. You don't think.
I understand. There's also a matter of disconnect. That's what you're mentioning.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
a matter of this being disconnected with the whole matter. But I agree with you, and that's true, right? But I don't think that should be a good enough reason to exploit animals, to abuse them.
No, it's not the reason. It's not a matter of people there. It's more like when you're in a country and on a daily basis you do your groceries. just thinking like that, like you do your groceries and you don't have a lot of vegan options, or you don't want to just consume the same fucking vegetable that is imported from Colombia. Like you have to make decisions based on what you have. And even though you're trying to make, and meat is expensive, so you don't eat meat every day. Even if you do eat meat, it's not easy to just go for the vegan options every time. So there's also that. For me, it's not an easy choice based on just money and bias power. But of course, like if I have more options, I won't. And I do not consume meat a lot, not every time because it's expensive. So you do also have other things.
Let me clarify this. First of all, in Western Europe, there's been like I think 3 studies already.
Yeah.
Or 4, I don't know. Like I assume, as far as I know, there's 3 that say that the vegan diet is actually 30% cheaper than a meat-based diet because vegan. You might be surprised that you probably eat already vegan, right? Pasta, rice, beans, lentils, legumes. All of this is already vegan, right?
Yeah.
And tofu, tempeh, all of this. All of these are cheap and they're vegan. You can survive and thrive on these plenty, right? Of course, if you buy mock meat, some of them are expensive, but some of them are also cheap. And I know for a fact that in France, there's a lot of vegan options.
You have though, but it's not the same as all the counters of meat and fish that you could find. It's not the same scale.
Yeah, but does it matter? Does it matter that you have, because the reality is, if you say, I don't want animals to die for me, does it matter what the fact that there's more animal to die or that you have an option for them not to die? You see what I mean?
The option is more expensive, to be honest. If you just take the milk, for example, the oat milk, which is basic, or soya milk, it's more expensive than the regular milk. So, like in terms of making the choice, sometimes you are not thinking like that. You're just thinking about, okay, what's the cheaper? And of course, as you don't know, what's vegan, what could you eat? So then you pass all the options that you could eat on a normal basis and that you could replace it. So it's also about knowledge and knowing what you could eat.
Do you believe that you can find a way to not pay for animal products within your budget, healthy? Do you believe that this is possible for you?
Yeah,
So you believe it is possible. So that means you have an option, right?
You have, but I think it depends on where you live. It depends on your budget. It depends on all of that.
That's why I asked for you. That's why I talked to you,
Yeah,
right?
but I think like personally on my end, it's not necessarily a budget question, but in the end, it's just I'm not even asking myself the question of if I'm consuming milk or cheese, like how was it gathered? Like
I understand that, right?
And
Do you think now?
It doesn't even cross my mind for a second.
But knowing this now, do you think that you have a responsibility to think about this?
Yeah.
Given that.
Yeah, to think about it, just
Okay, I'm not gonna. That's all I want to.
Yeah.
That's all I want from you. I want you to realize your responsibility in the matter. Do you know what veganism is, for example?
Honestly, not really.
Yeah, a lot of people think veganism means we don't consume animal products, but the reality is that veganism means we oppose the commodification of animals. It means we oppose the idea that animals should be treated as property, as objects. We say animals, they are sentient individuals. They have emotions, they have feelings, they have thoughts, they have personalities, and they experience the world around them. They're very similar to us. They're just maybe not as intelligent as us. But I don't think we should decide whether we exploit and abuse an individual based on how intelligent they are. I just don't think that's a matter of how we do it. We should do it, right? So in that sense, veganism means we oppose it and we follow through. It means we don't buy animal products, we don't pay for zoos, we don't pay for leather, we don't pay for any of it, right? So it's more than just the food. It's about the idea. It's about the animals. It's about animal rights, right?
Yeah.
So if any of this speaks to you, I really want you to look further into it, because the number one benefit of being vegan is that, one, animals do not die for you, and two, you're not a hypocrite, because if you do oppose the unnecessary killing of animals, the use of animals as objects, then you can live up to your own moral potential, right? There's people who I meet on the street who are okay with animal abuse, who are okay with killing animals. Those people, I have nothing to say to those people. But if you are the kind of people that care, then I think that you should look further into it, and I think you have a responsibility to try and act on it, and or at least the responsibility to get as informed as you can, and then make decisions based on that. How does that sound?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give you some cards. If you scan this code or go on this 3movies.wtf with this code,
Yeah.
you have a thing called Challenge 22. If you subscribe to it, they send you recipes, vegan recipes every day for free, and they hook you up with a nutritionist so that you can get the best vegan diet, nutrition, everything that you need. There's also personalized help. Somebody will log in with you on the Discord server and help you out if needed. All of it is free again. But if you put in this code, or if you scan this QR code, if you go on this website and put in this code, there's a thing called the most important speech you will ever hear.
I'm going to challenge your belief systems today, so certain parts of the speech will be intense.
That's what I want you to watch, to get to know like the whole part of what animals go through, and then you make your own decision. And if you want to go vegan, you have all the resources needed. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay, so it's called the most important speech you'll ever hear. Can you promise me you'll watch that? That's all I wanted to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, wait, I'll give you also one card because I have so many cards.
Thank you.
Also, wait, before you go, just realize that if you're going to buy animal products going further, you will pay for animals to go into slaughterhouses, okay? And you have a responsibility. So maybe until you get your full knowledge on and to make a decision based on knowledge, maybe abstain from it and then decide whether you want to go vegan or not, okay?
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.